Welcome to the Yoga Entrepreneurship School podcast, or as I like to call it, the Yes Podcast. My name is Britta Moreta, your podcast host with over a decade of experience working as a yoga teacher and business consultant all over the world. The Yes Podcast is for people in the wellness industry who are here to say yes to their dreams, their businesses, and their bank accounts, all while teaching what they love long term. The Yes Podcast is sponsored by Bridal Babes Yoga, a Luxe start to your celebration. Ready to elevate your bachelorette or hen-do weekend with something truly unforgettable? My Bridal Babes Yoga experiences are crafted with intention, movement, and connection because you deserve more than just the usual. Immerse yourself in a soulful, joy-filled session designed exclusively for you and your crew. Whether you crave a restorative morning flow, a themed class with playful energy, or a heart-centered practice to set powerful intentions for this next chapter, we'll curate a dreamy experience that feels as radiant and one-of-a-kind as your love story. What to expect? Thoughtfully curated playlist, essential oil-infused head massage, a pause to breathe, move, laugh, and connect with the optional add-ons of tarot card reading, astrology chart reading, and friendship bracelet making. This isn't just a yoga class. It's a radiant start to your weekend, an unforgettable moment of luxurious relaxation and joy before the confetti. Let's make magic for your bridal crew. To book a Bridal Babes Yoga class, you can go to brittamoreta.com/bridal-babes-yoga or find our link in the show notes. Welcome to episode 1 of the Yes Podcast. Throughout my 20s, I traveled the world and taught yoga and had the opportunity to manage yoga studios and fitness boutiques, work and teach for yoga festivals, direct commercials for retreat centers, executive assist for fitness influencers, and work as a retreat sales expert for companies, hotels, and retreats all over the world. And I opened a yoga studio in Portugal, but we'll leave that story for another episode. Why did I name the podcast the Yes Podcast? Besides it standing for Yoga Entrepreneurship School. Because every opportunity I just shared with you didn't happen because of my talent, my money, or the people I know. It happened because I said yes to every opportunity that scared me yet excited me at the same time, even when I didn't know how to direct a commercial or manage a fitness influencer or run multiple six-figure yoga studios across the United States. I said yes to myself, the challenges presented to me, and the joy of having a career in yoga. Now, how does wellness flow into all of this? I firmly believe that I am not well until all of us are well, because the wellness I practice and teach isn't what you see in the ads or contained in the supplements or fits into one of those picture-perfect matching yoga outfits. No. The wellness that we will very much speak on in this podcast, in both business and practice, liberates us all and is for everyday people. You know, people with disabilities, people who don't look or move like me or you, people who can't touch their toes, and for those of us who can, because wellness is a practice for us all, just like entrepreneurship. My hope for this podcast is that it becomes a consistent practice for us to learn how to become well through both yoga and entrepreneurship. Today, we are going to talk about sales. I know, the most cringy, uncomfortable, opposite of spiritual practice that every yoga teacher seems to hate more than boat pose. Am I right? What if we viewed sales as a practice that leads to abundance? Because whether you believe it or not, sales is spiritual, just like money. And when we trust in who we are and the gifts we are here to put out into the world, that is when the money flows in. And I know, what a privileged manifestation type of thing to say. And when we work on building our own wealth through making sales in our wellness business, that is when we can use our money to take care of the collective, to take care of the world. Because what's that saying? I'm not well until all of us are well. So get yourself wealthy first, then take care of the collective second. Today, we are going to learn my STFU and Sell Sales Methodology. That is right, you heard it correct, STFU. And I promise there is a method to the name. This methodology was designed for corporate yoga studios in the United States and kept an entire East Coast of yoga studios open and financially thriving. So I converted it to work for any type of wellness business. Therefore, I can confirm that it works. Okay, get out a journal, your notes app, wherever you take your wellness business notes. If you don't have a place for that, go find it. You need to find out the emotional reason someone wants to work with you, whether it's taking your yoga class, coming to your retreat, or purchasing your wellness offering, such as a hypnosis or breathwork session. Really important. When we figure out someone's emotional reasoning, it is not their lifelong experience of trauma. It is not you allowing them to dump on you or vice versa. This is more of like what inspired you to get on a call today to talk about the retreat, or what do you love about yoga? What excited you to take a whole hour to practice yoga today? So it's these thought-provoking questions that go deep and at the same time not too deep. So an example of this is when we figure out their emotional need, such as what inspired you to get on the call today or to come to yoga? Why do you practice yoga? Tell me more about your practices, what lights you up. So again, those are thought-provoking questions that invite them to figure out, why are they here today? And it's going to help them and you continue this conversation. And again, important thing to remember, when you ask someone a question, you need to listen to their answer. Again, when you ask someone a question, they are most likely going to answer. Therefore, you need to listen to their answer. Once we figure out their emotional need, that is when we share with them about what we are offering and how it can transform their life. Whether it's a yoga class, retreat, teacher training, or something else, keyword transformation. And that emotional reason, aka their why, is going to help you get the sale because you are going to relate their why to the transformation that you are selling. Once you share with them about your offering, ask them, what questions do you have? Not, do you have any questions? Because they could say no, and then that sales conversation ends. So we want to ask them an open-ended question to further the conversation. Because again, yes or no questions could just shut down that conversation. It's a lot harder to save the sale. Now that you have answered their questions because you asked them what questions do you have and you listened to the questions that they asked, now we're going to ask for the sale. I'm going to pretend that I'm not myself. So I'm going to say, Britta, would you like to join us on the transformational breathwork retreat in Mallorca, Spain, so that you can release your stress, regulate your nervous system, and relax on a beach while sipping coconut water with the sound of the waves providing a subtle exhale to your day? Okay, let me repeat that. Britta, would you like to join us on the transformational breathwork retreat in Mallorca, Spain, so that you can release your stress, regulate your nervous system, and relax on a beach while sipping coconut water with the sound of the waves providing a subtle exhale to your day? It's not, do you want to come to this teacher training? Do you want to come to this retreat? Do you want to purchase the yoga membership? It's, do you want to have this life transformative experience? Insert the why that they shared with you earlier. So I said, release your stress, regulate your nervous system, relax on a beach while sipping coconut water. So I inserted some issues or some emotional reasons that they previously could have shared with me in that conversation. And then I added the atmosphere. So coconut water with the sound of the waves providing a subtle exhale to your day. So I'm basically asking them to attend a transformation with me and make an investment in themselves. If they say yes, then we move forward in the sales conversation. And if they say no, thank them for their time and get off the call and kindly end the conversation. Now, let's say they said yes or maybe. Tell them the investment in payment plan formation. Keyword investment because they are investing in themselves. Second keywords, payment plan. So if your retreat is 3,000 US dollars, you're not going to be like, it's 3,000 US dollars, because they could be super interested and then they hear that high number and they like freak out and they're like, I can't afford that. So you would say, the private queen room at the Transformational Breathwork Retreat in Mallorca, Spain is 3 payments of $1,000 or pay in full at $3,000. And if you want to cover, let's say, transaction fees, maybe it's 3 payments of $1,097 or pay in full at 3,000 US dollars. Which option works best for you? Then literally STFU, because you just asked them a question, therefore they need to answer. And you didn't just ask them any question. You asked them to invest in themselves. You asked them to transform their lives, and you asked them to pay for that and to join you in another country. You asked them a lot of intense questions all in one question. Intense is not the right word. You asked them to take a chance on themselves, to take a risk on themselves. And then you offer them the investment options. So in their head, they're probably thinking, I got to get a cat sitter. I got to find childcare for my kid. I need to ask my partner. I need to ask my boss if I can have time off. There's financial decisions. I got to pay for flights. So like you ask them this, they might not answer right away. Like give them 30 seconds to 2 minutes to answer you. So again, you ask them which option works best for you, and then you literally shut your mouth and you let them process what you just asked them, okay? If they say yes, then you have the payment options ready for them to pay on the call or in person. So if you're on the call, you're going to have some kind of checkout system. I use Stripe. I have my Stripe links ready to go, like copied onto my dashboard of my laptop to drop into that Zoom chat for them to pay while on the call with me. And if that gives you anxiety, number one, I just want you to practice doing it because it gives you anxiety. And the more we practice doing uncomfortable things, the easier it's going to get. And I also believe that you need to sell how you want to be sold to. So if you're like, I don't like being sold to in that way, having to make a financial decision right then and there, you can ask them that question. Again, let them answer. And even if they say yes, like they're ready to pay right then and there, you can be like, I want you to give this 24 hours. I want you to sleep on it. Right after this call, I'm going to email you our meeting minutes and a link to the payment link. And then you let me know by tomorrow at 5 p.m. And I will touch base with you by then just to see how you're feeling. Something like that. So there's 2 options, 2 ways to sell to people, and you do which one. Do the one that you feel comfortable, no, not comfortable, just how you want to be sold to. However, if it makes you uncomfortable and it makes you nervous to ask for someone to pay for something on a call with you or in person at a yoga studio, wow, what a really great time to practice doing that. It's kind of like yoga. Like not everyone can do crow pose the first 5 years of practicing yoga or at all. But you know what? It's called a yoga practice. So they practice doing crow pose every time they're on their mat. So every time you're in a sales conversation, a great practice would be to asking people to pay right then and there. And it's really good practice if it's an in-person conversation. Like if you ask someone to buy a membership at a yoga studio, obviously they're going to pay right then and there. It's kind of like when you go to the grocery store and you have to pay for your groceries right then and there. It's not a question. It's like you have to because those are your groceries. So get in the practice of doing things that make you uncomfortable, sales conversations included. Okay, moving on. So again, if they say yes, then you have the payment option ready for them to pay on the call or in person at the studio, or you email them the payment options with a payment link and give them 24 hours to pay. I know most of you will choose the 24 option, but again, just do something that makes you uncomfortable. Like it's kind of like if you're in yoga and the teacher teaches boat pose and you don't do it because it makes you uncomfortable. Like, we practice yoga to do uncomfortable things in life. So just get into the practice of doing uncomfortable things. And I want you to practice this because I don't care about you getting the sale. Like, I really don't care if you get the sale or not. It's putting yourself out there and trying something new over and over again until it becomes a practice. So once they have paid you, welcome them to your community, email them any details they need to know about working with you. So if they purchase a membership at your studio, you might have them sign, right, like a real piece of paper of the membership, but you also email them the membership, you email them their receipt. That way everything's documented. It's the same if they're going to get on a sales call with you and purchase your retreat or teacher training. You are going to email them all of like a welcome packet right after, their receipt, anything they need to know before, during, or after the retreat or teacher training. So that way everything is just covered via documentation. Let's just do a little recap for the STFU methodology. Okay, so let's just like create a little scenario real quick. Let's say that you are selling a 300-hour yoga teacher training, and you are doing it in Portugal, and it's on the most beautiful beach in the Algarve. There's going to be 3 vegetarian meals per day. In between all the yoga, they have the option to go to a sauna, to go to a jacuzzi, to go surfing at the beach, to get massages. The accommodation is like 5-star luxurious hotel. Like, this is a luxurious experience. So you have your retreat landing pages up, and it's a link to book a call with you. Someone gets on a retreat call with you, not a discovery call. Stop calling it discovery. I hate that word. It is a retreat call. And I think we just all call a free call a discovery call because we see other people doing it. Get authentic. If like you're selling a retreat, it's a retreat call. If you're selling a yoga teacher training, which is what we're selling, maybe call it like a free yoga call or like a YTT call. Just get creative on what the call can be. And don't get like too woo-woo about it. So like it's concrete and then like a little spiritual, and then come up with a cool name for it. Anyway, they get on this yoga call with you and you welcome them to the call. You say, it's 5 p.m. We're going to get off this call at 5:20 p.m. So like you're setting a time boundary right then and there. And then you just let the conversation flow. So you're like, what inspired you to get on the call today? Or what inspired you about this yoga teacher training to want to chat with me today? And really listen to what they share with you. Like, really listen, because they could share with you like some really deep stuff. Like, maybe they're a full-time mom while also working like 2 part-time jobs to make it work for her and her kids. And yoga is like the 1 hour of bliss she has to herself 3 days a week. Maybe she's a lawyer and she works 40 to 60 hours per week. And she used to practice yoga when she was in university. And she has been struggling to come back to herself because she's so preoccupied with work. So she gets on this call today because she wants to come home to herself. So like, see how like really real and truthful and like just human that is, because someone wants to come home to themselves, or because yoga is their 1 hour of bliss. So like they just told you like their why. So powerful. And just thank them for sharing something like that. And then ask them, what questions do you have about my upcoming yoga teacher training in the Algarve in Portugal? They're probably going to ask you about airport transfer. They're going to ask you about room options. They're going to ask you about food. They're going to ask you about the yoga itself. They're going to ask you who else is coming to this yoga teacher training. They're going to ask you, maybe they've never been to Portugal and they want to know like if it's like a safe country. It is. They're just going to have a lot of questions, and answer them honestly, truthfully. Like, don't have some kind of like script, like reading it off a piece of paper, being like, this is what like I wrote down. Like, no, like be human and just present in that conversation, kind of like when you hold space when you're teaching yoga. So you answer all their questions, and then you tell them the top 3 to 5 transformational experiences available for them. And you're not going to be like, these are the top 5 transformational experiences. You're going to be like, well, we're also going to practice sunrise yoga on the beach. So Every day from 6 to 7:30 a.m., we are going to walk to the beach, which is a 30-second walk from our hotel, and we are going to practice yoga as the sun rises over the ocean. We are going to have a foodie night out and try all the delicious food of Portugal, the different wines, the pastries, all of the different vegetarian options that Portugal has available. I don't know why I chose vegetarian for Portugal. The math is not mathing, but like, you know what I'm saying. And maybe another transformation is like you have the option to get daily massages after a day of yoga. So like you tell them things that can just like really light them up. And you have free time to walk around the Algarve, to go hiking, to sunbathe at the beach, blah, blah, blah. Transformational experiences. And then you tell them the investment. So again, you asked their why, you answered their questions, you told them all the transformations that your teacher training has to offer. And now you're going to say, like, hey, Britta, again, thank you so much for being in this conversation with me and sharing like why you got on the call today. I'm really inspired by you because you answered or you asked such fantastic questions. Do you want to attend the 20-day, 300-hour yoga teacher training on the beach in the Algarve, Portugal, while eating delicious vegetarian food, practicing sunrise yoga on the beach, and getting daily massages, all while being surrounded by a sisterhood of yogis 2 months from now? They're going to say, yes. You're going to say, great. The investment is 3 payments of $1097 USD or pay in full at $3,000. Which option works best for you? Notice how I'm silent right now because I'm shutting the fuck up because I just asked them to invest in themselves. You're picking up what I'm putting down? Give them the silence, just like we give our students silence in Shavasana, so they can calculate inside of them what they need to do to make this transformation happen for them. So just give them time to process. I would say 2 minutes, 2 minutes. Like give them that if they haven't answered. Just give them 2 minutes. They're probably going to say yes, or they're going to say maybe, or maybe they were really interested and then they heard the investment option and they get scared and say no. If they say yes, again, you can just drop that payment link in the chat there, or you can email them the meeting minutes and the payment link via email, and they have to let you know by 5 p.m. tomorrow. Otherwise, you're going to give their space to someone else, and you're going to follow up with them just to check in with their decision. If they say maybe, like maybe they were all in and then they heard the investment and they freak out a little bit, and you're going to say, okay, if money wasn't involved, would you attend this yoga teacher training? They're going to say yes. And you're going to say, great. So what can we do to make this happen for you? Maybe you offer them a 4 payment plan instead of 3. Maybe you, instead of them paying the 3 payments in 3-month increments, maybe you do it in 6 months. So they pay a payment every other month. To make it financially work for them. Maybe they're just scared of like traveling abroad. Maybe they've never done a solo trip for themselves. And that's where you really talk about community and how safe of an experience it's going to be for them, and like share your experience of traveling through Portugal or wherever the country is that you're hosting your yoga teacher training. Maybe it's like another fear that they have around like flying. Maybe they need to talk to their partner, blah, blah, blah. But you have options to overcome that maybe with their why. So if they shared with you how they really just need to come home to themselves, and like suddenly they're like, well, I don't know, maybe I'll come to this yoga teacher training. And you're going to be like, Britta, earlier on this call, you shared how yoga is the one thing that brings you home to yourself. And as someone who's been teaching yoga for over a decade, I'm here to tell you that this opportunity is here for you one time to come home to yourself, to wake up every day with the sun shining, to practice yoga in community with your sisters, and to eat food that nourishes your body. And you don't have to go to work 60 hours a week. You get to practice yoga for 10 hours a week and have the rest of the time to come home to yourself. Do you want to attend this yoga teacher training so you can insert XYZ transformation and change your life? And you just ask again, you be quiet, and you let them process. They're most likely going to say yes. If you get someone who just they haven't been interested in this yoga teacher training from day one, but they still got on the call with you, just thank them for their time and get off the call. That's a really easy thing to do, and then accept that not everyone's your client. So if they say yes, you have them pay in the chat right then and there, or you email it to them and check in within 24 hours. If they say maybe, you're going to use their why to overcome it so that they can become a yes and attend your yoga teacher training. If they say no, thank them for their time and goodbye. And that is my STFU and Sell Sales Methodology. I know that's a lot. You're welcome to pause this episode throughout to take notes. But this methodology has helped yoga studios stay open across the United States. It has helped my clients sell out their retreats 3 to 6 months in advance. It has helped some of my other clients get their first-time clients and then move abroad and live the life of their dreams because they followed this methodology. Does it have to be this verbatim? No, make it your own language. But there is a structure to it so that it works. And what I do is I practice this methodology, and then I'll go and wash the dishes, or I'll go and practice yoga, or I'll go on a walk and literally speak this methodology out loud while I'm doing an activity so that it gets in my body and it becomes muscle memory. That is really important. And it's the same as practicing yoga. We know that downward dog is an upside down V shape. And we know that because we practice it on our mats every single day. Therefore, our body creates muscle memory and remembers that downward dog is an upside down V shape. Okay, let's take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. I end every class, and I'm going to end every podcast episode with a quote or a poem, because it just lights me up, and I want you to stay inspired as well. So today's quote: the legendary cellist Pablo Casals was asked why he continued to practice at age 90. Because I think I'm making progress, he replied. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Thank you for being here and for taking the time to invest in your yoga business and your wellness, loving you and believing in the magic of your yoga dreams. If you want your retreat, teacher training, studio, or wellness offering to be featured on the Yes Podcast, then send an email to britta@brittamareda.com to get the details, or check the show notes for our email. Thank you for listening to the Yoga Entrepreneurship School podcast. If making money teaching what you love sounds like something you want to do, then check out the show notes to find out ways we can work together. If you feel called to leave a review, then you can find me on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. I'll see you in our next episode, on our mats, breathing deep and saying yes to our yoga dreams, all while making bold business moves.